It's going to be live. It should be live now. I think it is live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is from A to B, presented to you by Osmo.com. I'm Andrew. I'm joined by Ben. We are going to talk about football today, primarily. The NFL for a while, maybe a little college football. What's happening, buddy?
None. Happy Friday. We are getting monsoons it looks like Mordor out there. Black Middle Earth. It's pitch black in New York right now. We're about to get big storms. So
Okay.
good day to talk football. I guess there's nothing else to really do.
Yeah, I got about 78 and sunny, so
Brutal.
standard fare.
Quite a game last night.
Yeah, about a barn burner, as predicted.
Yeah, but well, hopefully, I hope we do have some people who watched our show last night. But if you did, disregard the parts where I talked about Carolina showing up.
No, just listen to me talk about Pittsburgh winning in a high total game.
Yes, that's what we needed. The problem with the high total game is that Pittsburgh had guys I didn't know existed catch passes before James Washington, who was the only player to not participate last night in the fun.
Yeah, that was pretty irritating. That's been the story on Showdown a fair amount for me this year. The guy I was most underweight on was James Conner, who didn't really do a whole lot. I had a ton of Juju captain, and it was like, that looks so lit to start. It was like, oh, everything's great. Had a bunch of Christian. It was funny. I talked about it last night. I said I was playing about 50% Christian McCaffrey, expecting to be quite a bit under, and I was a little bit over on the field. Had some of him in captain, so and then Juju just kind of petered out, and then they just got blown out. There were just there wasn't many outs when the game's over in the third quarter.
Yeah, I turned it off. It was Jalen Samuels was the sneaky guy. I was not gonna go there.
Yeah, did you see the guy that won the thing won by like 8 points?
Away. Yeah, domination.
A unique lineup, like 8 points clear of the 120,000 other people.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happens. But Jalen Samuels was who he was an awesome player in college. That was not on the radar last night.
I've never heard of that person ever.
He was like a do-it-all NC State guy. He was like their fullback / running back / he would catch like 7 balls a game.
I'm a big fan of the Wolf Pack.
Yeah,
more for Nevada, but
well, same mascot.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, but you know what? It was a cool game for a little while there, and now we got 11 games.
Yeah, I skated out down 10% on a showdown slate. That's definitely a win.
Ooh, I wish I did that. I was bageled last night. Did not catch one. NBA bailed me out. Little 4-game slate. Thank you, overtime, Kyrie.
Yeah,
that was huge.
That was nice.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
It's there.
Yeah, it's not bad. This is a cool slate. I wrote in my article, which is obviously on the site. If you haven't read it, that I feel like this is the first week where almost every big team is on there. Like, we had no Mahomes for weeks. The Patriots were at night. Then the Saints and the Rams weren't there. We got a lot. There's every big gun to choose from.
Yeah, all the trash teams are playing in primetime this week. It's like Philly, Dallas. Philly's really good, but Dallas is just awful to watch. And then the Monday night game is stupid Giants and 49ers.
Ooh.
Excited to break that down Monday morning after
my plan, even though I love interacting with the people and doing the show, my plan is to win the Millie this week so we can avoid talking Giants and Niners on Monday.
Yeah. If we chop the Millie, we'll take the next day off. You guys can deal with Showdown on your own.
College football is going to be awesome this week too. We will definitely have that after we talk some NFL. But do you want to jump right in? I mean, do you have anything else to say on Jalen Samuels and the travesty last night?
No. It's kind of frustrating when I was over on the right good players and under on the right good players. So I got the expensive guys right.
That's more frustrating. Like, I didn't have a frustrating showdown. I got it all wrong. I thought the Panthers were going to win the game. I liked Greg Olsen. I liked the wrong people. I faded the wrong people. When you do that, you should lose. It's easier to stomach that. It's worse when you're like, this played out kind of how I thought. I liked my exposures, and I still didn't hit the right combo.
Yeah, just lost it. Shitbird roulette. It
Yeah,
happens.
that's what Showdown is.
Yeah, speaking of that, there's a golf tournament going right now that is definitely not doing well at Shitbird roulette. Have a great core. And some real struggles down there. Okay, want to talk quarterback? This is a super deep quarterback crew this week. A lot of guys to play.
It's true. You got Mahomes on somewhat of an island, which I think that's fine. You know, he's $800 more. You know, they're 17-point favorites at home. I'll pay. I guess I don't know. Do you want to jump right into him? Because I'm so far off like what's going on. I don't have a good pulse on him. Feels like a week where, yeah, he's going to get his, of course, but how much are they really going to do it? At the same time, you know, if they hang 42, you don't need garbage time. Like they already got there. But I'm more like I'll take $800 savings and just play Aaron Rodgers if I go up.
Yeah, I'm mostly there. I do like Tyreek Hill, oddly. We'll get to that in the wide receiver section, but I don't know that Mahomes is necessary. He's pretty expensive, and like we were saying, it's just super deep. There's tons of dudes. Yeah, Rodgers, great play. I mean, Phil Rivers, I think, is your cash play. It's six flat against Oakland. They're just a horrible defense, really slow. Man, that's going to be... Phil should go nuts.
So for me, the other guy that I like, and he was obviously I have not built yet. I was actually thinking of looking to Baker in cash. He's only 5,400 Falcons. You know, he hasn't been great. I actually think he's kind of been unimpressive on the field, but at the same time, he's producing decent outputs in terms of fantasy. Mm-hmm. This is the perfect matchup. The price has dropped even a little, so you can take some savings there with a guy, but I agree. Phillip Rivers, I mean, I've been way overweight on him against the field in most weeks, even in tough matchups, so there's no reason to jump off against Oakland.
Yeah, he's an amazing quarterback. Guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But, yeah, Baker, that's interesting. I had not really thought of him. He doesn't project particularly well, but Atlanta, it's an interesting argument with Atlanta because, you know, yeah, I'm with you. Baker has not looked particularly good, but Atlanta does give up a lot of those throws that Baker should make. They should be playing from behind. I mean, Cleveland's really bad, so decent game script. Don't hate that. I'll also look into that a little more.
Yeah, it just struck me. I kind of feel like he's, I don't want to say hitting his floor games because that's not what I'm really trying to say, but at the same time, he certainly hasn't connected all the dots. If he had, I feel like he would be priced around Phillip Rivers and those guys, and the ownership would be higher. And if he does, this could be just a quiet 22, 25 pointer where it's like, wow, 5,400, you're smashing the tag.
Yeah, not bad. Speaking of a potential really quiet 22, 25 pointer, I mean, he's not going to be quiet because he's who he is, but Blortles is sub $5,000, 4,900. I mean, against Indianapolis. That's not crazy to me. Again, this is not for cash, but what do you think? What do you think of Sir Blake Bortles?
Yeah, I mean, obviously in Indy, so you have no weather, sub 5K tournaments. I know even in chat, people will talk about, you know, like McCown for the Jets. I think if you're gonna completely punt, you got to go with Bortles. Like that's as low as I'm probably going to go. We've seen him be awful and still get there. Indianapolis is not a great defense by any stretch. Fournette, I believe, is back. That can only help him. Should raise the efficiency. It's still Bortles, but I don't mind it that much.
He's 100% live for -3 points. You know, like he could pull that off if anyone can, or get benched at halftime. But at 4,900, there is some upside there. Indianapolis gives up. You know, they just allow a lot of plays. They play pretty fast. It's a pretty soft defense, pretty vanilla. Not that I don't know. I mean, Blake could be terrible, but I think that there's some potential for him to have a good game. That's as low as you're going? You're not willing to dip into the Rosen waters?
No, not going there. I mean, I know he'll be playing catch-up. Do you have interest in him?
I don't think so, given the depth of the slate. But if you removed 2 or 3 of these teams, then I would in a vacuum. I guess I'm saying like it's an intriguing spot to me. Josh Rosen against the Chiefs on the road at 4,800, I think is like not so crazy. But there are just so many options this week. Justin Houston's back too. Not that he's like the be all end all, but you know.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Sometimes I have a tough time, and I get sucked into this where it's like, oh, he's gonna have so much garbage time playing catch up. But like if you're just getting smoked, that's not the ideal scenario. It's not like you can just automatically get points in garbage time. You have to be somewhat effective.
Yeah, exactly. So. Not I don't think I'm going to do it this week, but it's something I would have kept. I'll keep my eye on. Would have kept my whatever. But yeah, I prefer Blortles, as ugly as that is. Anybody else for you?
Not really. There's so many options in the mid range. Like if you wanted to go to someone like. Do I dare say, I mean, this isn't mid-range like Alex Smith, who has the other best matchup on the slate. He's just – the offensive line lost 2 starters. The receiving core is absolutely decimated. I will have some exposure to the Redskins. I'm just not sure it's going to be with Alex Smith.
He is the number 1 value in the projections, and that is a function of Tampa Bay and the 5,300 and the fact that there is still some of last year's – which apparently was the outlier season for him. But there's still some of that efficiency that's tied into my model. So he hasn't completely become the, check down guy that he has gone back to being. He's just like ridiculous. He's just so conservative. He doesn't throw the ball downfield at all. But he did a ton last year, so that's still showing up a little bit. That was the one season in his career that he has. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty good value, but I think the range of outcomes is pretty tight. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting 16 to 22. You're not getting much more.
It's that fringe cash play that I'm not going to have in cash.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather roll the dice with Baker. I definitely am there for that. We did have someone in chat, though. Marino for life. I wish you guys would do some NBA stuff. Well, appreciate that. When golf goes on hiatus, which it's coming up after next week, we're going to need some stuff to fill in. We will definitely look to put in some NBA. So stay tuned for that. We have obviously so many good NBA guys here, but I know that's your wheelhouse too. Like you do the projections, but just talking NBA is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we both play quite a bit, and we certainly keep our eye on the league. It's my favorite sport. Like I watch a couple basketball games pretty much every night. So
for sure,
we'll definitely get into that more when golf's on hiatus, and then especially after football's over. Like it's NBA season, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Anyone else you want to move to running backs?
I think that's about it for me.
Cool. Yeah, running back is just absolutely loaded. Like I said, every big name is on this slate. If I had to pick a favorite, it'd be Melvin Gordon. He's just a monster among monsters, and just where I lean, but it's hard to really pick between, you got Gurley, you got Kamara, even Kareem Hunt, who's another one just getting it done and has a team total, implied total is huge for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think Kareem Hunt ends up being the most popular play, right?
He's the cheapest of the big names. They're all going to somewhat cannibalize ownership, which is a good thing. It'll spread it out a bit. It's tough. Melvin Gordon, the way they target him, it's like Gurley. They look for him in the passing game or in the running game. He's obviously finds the end zone. I see like no way he doesn't at least have a chance to get in multiple times against Oakland.
Yeah, I like Gordon quite a bit. I'm more into Gurley this week than I have been in a while, just because the price. He's been the highest projected by far of all of these guys every single week. It's just he's been $2,000 more expensive than them often, and now that gap's closed.
That's closed, and even I think I'm guilty of this. People see Seattle defense, and it's still a red flag, whether that's true or not. So ownership, not that Gurley's going to be unpopular, but after a bad game last week, and Seattle, you're going to have people kind of like me being like, oh, Melvin Gordon, like Raiders coming off the worst game of the year, probably. I'll go there. So if there's an ownership discount that's severe, obviously, that's something I'll have to reevaluate.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But, I mean, my lean is, I just looking at it straight up, I would rather play Gurley at 9,400 than Melvin Gordon at 9,000. If it was, like what we've seen in weeks past is we've got Gurley at 9,800 and Melvin Gordon at 8,100 and a third of the ownership. It's like, I'm going to take Melvin Gordon every time there. But
this would be different.
This is different.
And you can, if you do punt quarterback, you're going to be able to take a couple of these guys. It's, you just don't want to sacrifice too much on that end. Because as we work down a little, it's not like there's not good guys. Whether that next tier, I think, is the most difficult one for me to peg this week. It's guys who are, obviously in the next tier who have either been disappointing on the year or who have tougher matchups, like Mixon, David Johnson, who's just been bad, James White, who's just been amazing. Do you have a feel there? You going back to Mixon?
Yeah, most likely I will have some Mixon. Don't hate that. Isn't who was I going to say? I mean, the trouble with that is the potential for some game script stuff. I think Mixon is, he catches passes, but he's really relying on the run. Is Gio coming back this week? I feel like
I haven't seen anything. I didn't think so, but that could be wrong. Gio listed as questionable. So yeah, that would change things as well, because when he's out, Walton doesn't get anything meaningful. It's Mixon's backfield, and with no AJ Green, obviously him and Boyd are going to be responsible for keeping them in this game.
Yeah, I've got him as playing in the projections. That's why Mixon isn't popping.
Okay.
He's practiced all week. Checking out the Roto World blurb. He's practiced all week, so it would be a shock if he's not active, especially since the Bengals have already ruled out 7 players. Yeah, that's not great just because that makes the potential for bad game script to hurt Mixon a little bit more. So I think Gio will be more the pass-catching guy. I mean, he typically is. So in catch-up, that's not super great for him.
Do you think you could go to Fournette? Like, I know we're not going to know where he's at, per se, but 6,300, obviously that's a buy if he's getting a full workload.
I guess. I'll let other people take that plunge, I think. I'm just not a Leonard Fournette guy.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Listen, yeah. I've played him a couple, and that's the other. I have bought on him a couple times this year, and he's gotten hurt every time, so I'm a little sour on him too.
That's the thing. And I know this is a common theme for us and across the industry. There's a real chance he's like a couple % owned. If there's no clarification on what they're doing, it's hard to get any upper echelon guy at that kind of ownership. So I may have a sliver depending on how it breaks, because I'm not overly so. David Johnson perpetually has been disappointing. I played him the whole year. I'm not against it again, but I certainly have lowered my expectations at this point.
Yeah, I think for tournaments you get these guys are somewhat interesting, but like in a cash setting, the sort of optimal route is paying up for a couple of the big dogs, and then you drop down quite a bit. So there are some viable cheaper running backs. I'm not really into the 6-7K guys as much in a vacuum. Sony Michel is out again, I believe. So that's somewhat promising for James White, but
yeah, James White's done.
I'd much rather play. It's hilarious to think of. They're in the same game, but Dion Lewis is $3,000 less than James White. Remember when they were
equal? Yeah, it just proves. Are you going to go
not
back?
Equal. I mean, Dion was like, Dion was. I'm talking about when they were both on the Patriots, and it was like viable to double stack them. No one was doing that. That's sort of the double stacking running backs didn't come into vogue until.
I tried to do that this year once. Huge mistake. When you get it right with the Packers running backs that 1 week, and Ty Montgomery was a disaster. Aaron Jones equally bad. Huge mistake. But when you get that right, you feel like a genius because it's very sneaky.
Yeah, I won primed. It wasn't Showdown. They didn't have Showdown last year, but I think it was a prime time, like Sunday, Monday night games thing. I won a slate with Patriots with White and Lewis double stack last year, or maybe it was Burke. I don't remember. It was two of the pass catching running backs.
Are you going to Jordan Howard again? I know you had some last week. Lions defense is a sieve. They're just garbage.
I don't think so.
Okay. You prefer Deion Lewis, obviously.
Yeah, I definitely prefer Lewis. Jordan Howard last week was a bit of a thing about how bad the fact that they were facing Nathan Peterman. It was more about that than anything else. Just thought they might smash him. So, not really in love with it. I'm still a little scared of like the Giants, not the Giants, the Lions, who have picked up the Giants' Damon Snacks Harrison.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week, and no, it certainly bolsters. They've just been so bad, and I don't know. That's a game I definitely want to attack. I'm not exactly sure how I do it. I could see it sneaky one to attack though.
Yeah. All right. I think the big one here is what are we doing with the Cleveland running back situation? They've got the nut matchup against Atlanta. All the balls to catch. I kind of like Chubb. Duke Johnson, though, kind of interesting from the pass catching standpoint. I think that's a decent tournament play.
You can make a case for both of them, in my opinion. Chubb's going to get the work. He should have the volume to justify that price tag. And I know it's only 1 week, but it seems like Duke Johnson's going to become a thing. I'm not saying he hits that type of game every week, but they're going to give him chances in the passing game. New coaching staff, and they had a clear different. It wasn't just that he performed; they had a clear initiative to get him looks. The snap count didn't really change, but the game plan itself did. I don't mind sneakily pairing him with Baker. You can definitely do that. If you want to get exposure, not outside of Landry and Njoku. Chubb's more. I don't think you should pair him obviously with Baker. He's a standalone, and you hope they control the game on the ground.
Okay. I get that. Yeah, I do like Chubb quite a bit. I'm with you that it's probably not one you want to pair with Baker. But, I mean, the thing with Chubb in this week is you're hoping that maybe instead of the normal 2 or 3 targets, he picks up 5 or 6.
It's just, if he really has a big game, it's at Baker's expense. Even if he gets some targets.
100%.
Because you want him finding the end zone 3 times.
Yep.
We're working down to my boy. Are we even going to mention? It's Elijah McGuire season. This is his moment. Not his moment, but he is only 3,400. He's going to see some targets. Bilal Powell not being there, he's just going to take over that role. He's explosive. He's in the Kamara bucket of he can do a lot with limited volume. And when your price is down, it doesn't put as much pressure on those touches because you don't need as much. So if you're truly punting a spot, which can be tough, it's a big opportunity cost this week at running back. That's certainly my favorite guy down way low.
Okay. You like him better than Shady at 4,500?
Do you know how many times I've played Shady? See what you did when you bring up Shady?
Got the coffee.
Sound the alarm.
Mm-hmm.
It's that game. We'll see what happens if Josh Allen comes back. Should be a real barn burner. But no, Elijah McGuire I think is a guy you can go to. He looked fine coming back from a long-term injury. He should be ready to roll.
We've got the chat. While we're talking about this trash game between the Bills and Jets, your favorite game of the week, I'm sure.
Yes.
Got the chat. Very interested. Our buddy Tube Socks wondering. A lot of people talking about Josh McCown. It's 4K. Clearly a much better quarterback than Sam Darnold, but I don't know if that's I don't know. That seems a little wild to me. What do you have thoughts here?
So, I think the biggest takeaway is that even now, the pricing doesn't, for me, incentivize you to do that, because for 600 more you could get Bortles, and for 1,100 more you could get Baker. And yes, those are price bumps, But think of the difference of like Josh McCown. Even if he's effective and he's not horrible, I don't know how high that ceiling really is against the Bills defense. That's not terrible. If go ahead.
No, I think that's the issue, is that the Bills' defense is pretty good. McCown, like, throws a good deep ball, and he's an unbelievable runner. So, like, there's a ceiling there. Like, he's shitty Cam Newton. Like, I mean, for real, dude. Like, what does he do well? He throws the ball well, and he's huge and fast. Like, those are tough things to deal with in a defense, and that's the same thing with Cam. So, he could easily, run for one and throw a bomb to Robbie Anderson or two, but
I guess
I'm not banking on it.
To me, it's just like what you just said is Bortles. Like, Bortles can run too, and as bad as Bortles is, he's horrendous. He's done. This guy, he hasn't played.
What's worse than shitty? Because Bortles is that of Aaron Rodgers. That's like that kind of game. He's just.
I'm glad you clarified. Yeah, he's not a poor man's Aaron Rodgers.
No, it's beyond poor. Yeah,
way in a different category. Mm-hmm. Yes, I see what you're talking about, though. Like I said, for me, it's you're not getting as if he was $4,000 different than all the other quarterbacks that were playable, or $3,000, it's like, okay, this changes the entire landscape of my team. But you could bump down your defense if you're taking a premier one and get someone like Baker, someone like Alex Smith even. That's probably where I would go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, like the McCown thing is not – it's not as – I don't think it's actually all that crazy, but it's a very deep quarterback slate.
No, it's not crazy. And as chat, I was just going to say this, and someone in chat just did. Yeah, if they were playing the Bucs or the Falcons, I would be singing a slightly different tune on this. It's just the Bills for any quarterback isn't where you see it and you're like, oh, this is a great spot.
Yeah, not a cakewalk.
No. Any other cheap running backs for you? Capri Bibbs, I just saw was mentioned. We have to see what's up with Chris Thompson. That's first. If he's playing, you could forget that. And then maybe, because they're so hurt. Redskins are just they caught a bad week last week.
Yeah, they're done.
They lost so many guys.
Yep. No, I think that's pretty much it for me. Tevin Coleman at 5,400 isn't so crazy, but yeah, that's about it for me. Cool. Wide receivers. Julio back at the top. We've missed you, Julio. Finally broke the streak. The floodgates open. Now we just will score for like the next 2 years. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Do you know?
I think for me, biggest question, does Tyler Boyd actually get a boost from AJ Green being out? Or does this hurt him in a way?
I'm interested to see where he lines up. If he's going to play outside a lot. I mean, he will in 2 wide receiver sets, but like not many. Most teams run like 70% 3 wide receiver sets now. And he's the slot guy. And PJ Williams, like that's where people have just been picking on PJ Williams all year. Like they're really struggling in the slot.
In their 3 wide receiver sets, who was the third guy when he's in the slot? John Ross?
Yeah, in theory.
Okay. Because he's the guy, obviously, he's going to be on the outside, but he's not someone him and AJ Green couldn't be more different, in my opinion, in just the way.
Ross
like John
and AJ Green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he can't fill that type of role, even in a poor man's version. That's not who he is.
Right. Ross, in like an ideal setting, is just he's like Sammy Watkins for the Rams last year. Like what we thought Cooks was going to be, but he's just a floor spacer. That's all. He's just fast. He runs out. Throw a couple bombs to him. Hope he draws some safety help because he can beat just about anybody in a foot race.
He's in. We always speed. We talk a lot of guys. He's in the extreme class of speed. Like he's not just a burner.
He literally broke Chris Johnson's record at the combine.
Yeah. If he was wearing the other shoes, he would have got an island. They had the standing offer, like if you beat that record, but you had to be wearing, I think it was Adidas, and he just had Nikes on. Like, not smart guy. Wow. Should have got that island.
I don't know what that means, but he ran a 4.22. That is obscene. Like,
yeah, it's not slow. But it's a question where I'm not sure there's a simple answer because Tyler Boyd, he sees a ton of volume. It's not impossible for him to see more volume, but it's going to be less efficient targets because they're going to be forcing it a little more. He's going to get more attention, obviously. Him and Mixon are going to have to do most of it. They don't have other options.
yeah, no, I'm with you that it will be a little less efficient. But if they're running him out of the slot and they put in, who's that third guy, like Ezekiel or something? I don't know.
Josh McCown?
No, the third Bengals guy.
Alex Erickson?
That's it.
Okay. I don't know what they're going to do. I honestly think they might go to Malone, who's more of a big body, hasn't done anything. Like, he's literally done nothing. Not playable, but they just need to keep it, like you said, you got to keep it honest, because if they start rolling coverage just to Boyd, someone has to be able to beat them on the other side.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if Boyd runs out of the slot, I don't think he's really affected. Because it's not like Marshawn Lattimore can go into the slot and be good. Like, those guys, it's a very different position, or it's a very different, like, coverage to pull off the slot. I mean, look what, like, AJ Bouye is one of the 4 or 5 best cornerbacks in football, and he got roasted by freaking Cole Beasley because he went to follow him into the slot, and that's just not what he does. It's really hard to play in the slot.
That's why, not this part, but Chris Harris is incredible. Yeah. What he does is so rare.
He's like the only one. Like,
yeah, a different animal.
Yep.
So we'll see about that, but that's where most of my attention is up top. I'm going to try very hard to figure out that situation and work around there. You said you mentioned earlier you like Tyreek Hill?
I do. I think that he might get a bit of it's Tyreek Hill, and you deal with him. He's the poster boy for a guy that you play when he's lower owned. I don't think he'll be popular this week. I think that
Peterson.
I think people are a little worried about Peterson. I think that people are going to overwhelmingly play Kareem Hunt, and Tyreek Hill is the kind of guy that can mess up Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson's like a big guy. He wins with physicality. Like,
he's great though.
He's great, but he's not as fast as Tyreek Hill. So on the 4 plays, these 4 routes this week that he doesn't like get his hands on him immediately, Hill will beat him downfield. So I think he's live for a couple big ones. And
as volatile as he is, just by the way he is, they've made a real stretch to get him a little more floor. Like, they get him in space, a couple easy throws a game. You don't think it matters, but it really does. Like, from now, he used to have games where he felt like nothing when he didn't catch his deep ball. Now, of course, the floor is still very low, but he still gets a handful of screens. They get him in space, handoffs, those stupid pop passes. So even if maybe he's somewhat limited deep, you're not completely dead. He always has a couple outs to take one short pass to the house.
And I think the Patrick Peterson thing is almost an advantage for Hill because, they're not shadow. I don't think the Cardinals have been shadowing at all this year. He used to be a bit of a shadow guy, so Hill will line up on both sides. So, but I think when Peterson is on him, they're okay leaving him. Peterson is so good that they'll leave him on an island, and no one except for John Ross is going to beat Tyreek Hill in a foot race. So.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I'm actually interested in Hill myself, and I don't play a ton of him. Keenan Allen's right there, who played a lot last week. Chargers in general are going to be, you can play them this week.
Oh yeah, I like Tyrell Williams the best of the Chargers. Just
where is he?
He's like 4,500 or something. 45.
Stupid. Yeah, there's a couple of cheapies. We just had actually dueling in our premium chat. A sharp guy mentioned Quincy Enunwa, who I totally get that this week. He's 3.7. It can't be worse than Darnold.
Buffalo's a real quarterback.
Yes, he absolutely is. And Buffalo's a real defense, but at that price, the target should be there. Seems cash if you need a guy at that price. I have no problem going to him. The Jets don't have any weapons in terms of priority lists, so someone might get left behind, but Enunwa's at the top anyway. And guys, I'd be pretty shocked.
I like Robbie better just because of the nature of the McCown situation there. But
he's more. I don't think you can ever really go to Robbie in cash though.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay. Other guys, Keenan Allen, obviously a really good play. He's more of a cat. Tyrell Williams is tournament only for sure, but I just think if he gets a very old and slow Oakland defense, guy could get loose downfield. He's the classic huge, fast guy. I like those dudes, even though they always disappoint.
I just can tell you already, and I'm not even advocating doing this, but I'm gonna have some Bortles, and when I do, I know I'm gonna pair him with D.D. Westbrook, and I almost know it's not gonna work. I have a D.D. Westbrook problem.
Right. It's gonna be the Keelan Cole week, or
it'll be Mercedes Lewis, who I don't think he's been on the team for multiple years now, but
Alan Hearns.
Yeah, exactly. From the star, he came back. Do you have in that same game though? T.Y. Hilton, I know it's brutal, but guy's got great home splits. He's sub 6. I think he's going to get his chances. Now, Jalen Ramsey's phenomenal. They're good, but I don't know. Everyone's going to be scared off because of, rightfully so, it's a very tough matchup. Do you think you're willing to take that plunge?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
You seem like the guy who would do that. I'm more with you too. When you can get a guy at a big price discount and a low ownership, someone like T.Y. Hilton too, who he's shown he can do it. I think that's a sneaky one.
And Jacksonville's had a bit. I think there's a thing. I forget if it was like Orlovsky or someone was breaking this down on Twitter that teams are sort of figuring out some ways to attack this cover 3 defense. Like all defenses go in sort of cycles anyway. I mean, let's not forget when the Tampa 2 defense was like killing everyone 15 years ago, and then it got solved, and then Greg Williams got another head coaching job running the defense. So
sick.
But I think the cover 3, which has been the big sort of dominant defense the last few years, if you have the personnel to pull it off, which has been Jacksonville, Seattle, Atlanta runs that too. Carolina does sometimes, but I think teams are starting to figure out how to beat it a little bit, and T.Y. Hilton certainly. I think he might be crazy low owned.
Crazy low owned. Just to rehash 1 second, and Doolin pointed this out. I totally forgot this. Robbie Anderson's doubtful for the game, so he hasn't been officially ruled out, but it looks like he's gonna sit, and that makes me that much more interested in Enunwa. You can look to the Jermaine Kearse and the gang, and Elijah McGuire, who's a guy that I've advocated for.
Okay. So if Anderson is out, then even the idea, I think we both sort of we're leaning against it, but we toyed with the idea of McCown and entertained the idea of McCown. If there's no Anderson, I'm not interested at all. Okay.
I wasn't gonna get to McCown regardless. I still get it, but not for me. I'm on the Baker train. And for a crazy low-owned guy, Bortles in the dome, that's all the risk I need on a given week.
Yeah, with you there. All right, more wide receivers. Do you like Josh Gordon? Because I kind of do.
Ooh.
Do you think Belichick tries to end Malcolm Butler's career this week?
That's a fair point. It's teetering on the edge right now. It just needs the final blow.
He's it's not looking good for that guy. I feel bad for him because he's obviously a hero for that Super Bowl play. But
he's a hero of mine for not playing last year.
Yeah, asshole. I think he's just a psycho, right? Like he's that like I always make the Casey Hayward Russell Westbrook comparison where they gamble too much. And I think that's who Malcolm Butler is. I think he just gambles all the time. And he's trying to make big plays. Sometimes it works. Like, there's a very famous play where it worked. But it's also going to let you get beat a lot. And I think he gets beat a lot because he's trying to make the big play.
The thing for me, it's more of Jarvis Landry. I'm definitely interested in because I'm so high on Baker. And we talked about T.Y. Hilton's right there. Josh Gordon, same price. He saw 10 targets last week. He seems like the stock is rising week by week. So is he in play? Definitely at 6K. I just don't know. It's early, but do you have a feel on how popular a guy like that's going to be?
I don't. I haven't really looked. I would imagine somewhat.
Okay.
I think we will get some. There'll be some narrative talk, right? You know, there's a million former Patriots on the Titans, including the coach. But I mean, I don't know. I really like Josh Gordon. He's projecting really well. I'm gonna have a lot, I think.
Okay. Do you have any interest in the guy who just burned you severely last week in Mike Evans?
Oh, that's son of. I don't know.
Because we did have a question about D-Jax in that game too. Going against former team, 4.9. He's always tricky for me because he's one of those guys. Unless it's a brutal situation, I think you can throw him in when he's low owned because he's very, very volatile and he can get it done. Fitzpatrick not afraid to take shots. Don't really mind it. I'm not sure how often I'm going to fall in that range. Do you really have a gut feel with that, or is it just the same story with Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah, I haven't really played him this year. I haven't been too upset about it, other than in week 1. And, again, if we're going process over results, like Deshaun Jackson played like 20 snaps, got 5 targets, caught them all for 150 yards in that game. So
yeah, those games were ridiculous. He has had a nice string though of not killing you. Now, how many times has the ceiling been there for a guy like that? Not too many. If he was a little cheaper, maybe. But if I fall as a last man, I may look overly didn't stand out per se.
Yeah. I mean, Washington's got a good pass rush, but they do have a lot of guys in the secondary who are sort of prone to falling asleep out there. So,
yeah, the entire team fell. That was such a bad showing last week. I mean, they got torched.
They're bad.
And they might win the division.
No, they're not. What's the line on the Eagles' future?
Oh, they gotta be. I don't know, but I would assume they're a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah, I would
the
hope
Giants
so.
obviously are ineligible. Cowboys, they don't seem to be showing signs of life. So
right. Well, the Giants are in Division 2 now, right?
Yeah, they've been relegated.
It's good. They deserve it.
Don't got to worry about the G-men. Yeah, nice hit, Jared. Won some money on FanDuel last night. Good stuff.
Nice dude.
Yeah, keep that going.
And then Corey Davis, sort of the last one at
Corey Davis
4,500. I think that's like a cash play. Little scary to roll 2 Titans in cash, but
you really do like Dion Lewis.
Yeah. I'm not. 100% will have Dion Lewis in cash. Someone, I forget who it was, but I did see a comment a little bit back of, are you worried about Belichick selling out to stop Dion Lewis and then just leaving Gilmore on an island on Davis? I guess that's possible. I think Dion Lewis is those kind of guys are hard to sell out to stop because it's not like they're doing the same thing every time. Like you can sell out to stop Travis Kelce by just sending an extra guy at him. Like one of the pass rushers like just hits him, literally just like pushes him before the play starts and like basically sacrifices himself from the pass rush just to take out someone like Kelce. But Dion Lewis is not really that kind of dude. You can't get your hands on him immediately because he's playing out of the backfield. So
yeah, no, it's a good point. Like we've even seen it with Gronk to the detriment of the defense. If you want to stop him, you can. And it's more, I think, on the offense with a guy like Dion Lewis. Like if the Titans are like, you know what, we're getting Dion Lewis the ball, they will get him the ball. It's very simple. They can get him passes in space. How effective that is as an offense, that remains to be seen. But if they want to give him the volume, it's hard to take that away.
Yeah, especially if they get any kind of a passing game going so that space opens up because the Patriots are really slow in the front 7. They're really fast in the secondary. But if those guys are downfield chasing after Corey Davis and the like, then Lewis could have a lot of space to operate with. With you, though, the Gilmore thing is somewhat scary with Davis. Like that guy, that's another top 5.
That's a really interesting game.
Yeah.
Didn't they meet in that was the Titans were swiftly smoked by them last year, right? In the playoffs?
Yeah.
Because we talked about this on a show the other day that Mariota caught that touchdown to himself against the Chiefs. I think then they went to Foxborough.
Oh, yeah. I get confused because the Patriots and Titans, I feel like I've seen 8 playoff games between the two of them in my lifetime. It's crazy. They play all the time. Like, back to the, Steve McNair teams, they were always, like, pretty good. And it was like the McNair Titans and the Manning Colts and
Frank Wycheck. Good times.
Yeah. Who was the other like super? They had some freak dude that was like really Dane.
Who?
I'm trying to remember. They had like a
what team?
The Titans. Like some 4th wide receiver they had that was like an animal size wise. I forget what the hell his name was. Dane. Whatever.
If someone in chat gets that off what you just said, that would be incredibly impressive. Like some guy on the Titans at some point.
It's just, yeah, exactly. It popped into my head, and then I realized I couldn't describe it, so I tried to move on, and then you pressed me, and now we're still talking about it. So
sorry. I do that all the time.
Riveting radio.
If you know what went on in this deranged mind when I'm trying to work through some of these players. All right, tight end.
Sucks again.
Yeah, you have it. Travis Kelce Island, 7K. Then it's like, what a world. Gronk, $300 more than OJ Howard, and I don't even think the pricing's off. It's crazy. I don't love a ton here. I really don't. This is a situation I'm just going to try to get by. I looked at Trey Burton a little. I don't really know what else to do. I've seen Uzomah pick up steam just because of the loss to AJ Green. I'm a little skeptical that it materializes in the form of targets, though. Do you have thoughts on any of this stuff?
I mean, I hate tight end this week.
Me too.
You know who's popping as the number 1 value again?
It better not be Jordan Reed.
Oh, of course it is, dude.
No.
He's 4,400.
That's manual override status.
It is. Like, I don't think I'm going to play that much of him, but he is legitimately the best value by a couple of points.
Damian Williams?
I don't know who that is.
Boy, you're the guy who's supposed to know who it is because that's what people are suggesting. We got our man Tube Socks.
The Titans guy? No, it's not Damian Williams. I think it's Dane something. I don't know.
Dane Fletcher, isn't that?
Why do we have to do this?
God damn it. Eddie George.
I'm familiar with his work.
All right. Anyway.
We're avoiding tight end hard. What about Jack Doyle?
I mean, he seems mispriced, but then at the same time, like, how much of his value has just been permanently taken by Ebron getting that opportunity and making the most of it? Like, I think he's in play because of the lack of options. The thing that I wanted to do was this seemed like a good spot to save. And even that didn't really stick out. Like there's just not that much down, like Herndon, Hooper, Burton. I think Trey Burton's a guy. He's kind of been lost in the shuffle the last 2 weeks, but I think it's more we talked about Jordan Howard controlled those games. The Bears, they played the Jets and the Bills. This is not going to be like that. So Trubisky and that passing attack, as skeptical as I am, they do produce, and Trey Burton's a red zone target. So I don't mind doing that at sub 4K.
All right. I think that's fine.
Every time I say sub blank, the guy is always like 3,900. Like, sub 7K. Yeah, because he's 6,900. I don't know why I do that, but.
You just like subs.
Sub,
you're here to help the subs. You want to.
Subway, eat fresh. Jonnu Smith. Yeah. Jonnu Smith, I did have a lot of him in Showdown, and it still didn't help me because I got the rest of that game wrong.
Well, he didn't play last night, so that's your problem.
Oh, yeah, that was a bold strategy. I would have been better off playing him than some of my guys last night. Honestly, tight end is one of those things and this is just for me this week, I don't have a good feel. What I'll do, I'll build around it, and I'll see where I'm left. If I have a ton of salary left, I'll go get Travis Kelce. If I need a punt, I'll look to some of those guys in the 3K range because I'm not really drawn to anything, and when that happens, you kind of let the rest of your lineup dictate where you go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be able to pay up for Kelsey. It's just pretty hard to do without
Hmm.
without a ton of value out there. But we'll figure it out.
Ooh, from the top rope, we got full 8 seconds. Dane Cruikshank.
Dane Cruikshank? I doubt
That
it.
sounds like a guy that could be it.
Is that with a K or a?
I don't know. It's a lot of letters.
Okay. I
Um,
was.
while you're looking that up,
I think we got to let this go. It's like ruining my show now. I have no idea who this person is. I'm probably crazy. It's probably something that
I think
the
Dane
man implanted.
I like that. That is a great call by whoever that is. Appreciate that comment.
Yeah.
Also, if you could give us a like, helps us out a ton on a Friday. Build that karma up for the weekend. We really do appreciate that. Hit that like button. Anyway, do we go defense? Can we move on from tight end?
Yeah.
Can
Tight end stinks.
That's why I was talking about Dane Cruikshank, because I just don't want to talk about tight ends anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Man, defense isn't great either, though. Meh. I've spoke too soon. Uh, boy, I mentioned the Packers last week that I was going to be into them this week. I still am. This is a get right spot. I don't care if it's Tannehill or obviously Brock. Packers defense can put pressure on them in Lambeau. Not overpriced by any stretch. I don't think overpopular either. They're going to be some ownership, but that was where I was first drawn.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. We have not seen the bad Brock Osweiler game really yet, but it's coming. And the Packers, yeah, you're right. They're an odd team. Like they do put they just run a weird defensive scheme, but it does generate a fair amount of pressure. So a bad quarterback under pressure is what you're looking for in a fantasy defense. So with that, don't mind the Chiefs or the Jets under similar arguments. Nathan Peterman stinks. Josh Allen stinks too. I don't care who it is. The Jets.
You should, because it's way different, and I really do think it makes a big difference.
Oh, I know you do.
Um,
I'm just giving you a hard time. It's more that it doesn't make a big. It's more that it doesn't make a big difference just because the Bills' offensive line is so terrible, and the Jets are like a decent defense. I think whichever quarterback it is going to be in enough trouble that they're going to make some mistakes. Peterman doesn't even need to be in trouble to make mistakes, but
what if it's Derek Anderson, you boy? Matt Barkley from the. I hope they just go there. Maybe they'll run. We did have Tube Socks and chat brought up. And I totally advocate for this. Just use Pryor in the Wildcat. Like he played quarterback, obviously in college. That would be awesome.
just go full Georgia Tech out there, see what
Why
happens.
not? Why not?
Because you'd get murdered. But they're going to get murdered anyway, probably.
This is what I'm talking about. When you have no hope, what are you really afraid of? Like, just do it. Do something weird. We got. How about the Jags tight ends? No, I mean they don't have any tight ends left. So first thing, get clarification on who that will be, because Niles Paul and the rest of them are on IR. So that's a wait and see at best.
Yeah.
Anything else, man? It's not that much else. We got to wait and see on some injuries. Like, I want to see what happens with Sammy Watkins. He's questionable still, I believe. You could look to some cheapies for the Chiefs and whatnot. And obviously, as most of you know by now, Sunday mornings, me and Lofty, 11 a.m., we'll go game by game, and we'll have more clarity on the injuries. So I'll save some of my bad hot takes for that. If you want to come back and hear me spew some more NFL nonsense, 11 a.m. on Sundays.
Okay. I don't think the last defense, like the Rams, might not be crazy if they go out and get up to a big lead. Seattle doesn't make a ton of plays, but their offensive line's terrible. I don't know how they're running the ball because it's not on the offensive line. It's just like Chris Carson is a wizard or something. But the Rams are not a very good defense, but they create a lot of pressure. And if you get Russ in trouble, maybe things break the right way.
Yeah, 2,400 is pretty nice.
More
We
than
did
that,
have
yeah.
someone ask about Saints defense. I'm not there. If they were in the dome again, I wouldn't hate it, but I would rather if I'm truly punting, just going to take a complete shot in the dark, it would either be the Rams or the Browns. And I'm not looking to really go that low this week, but those are the two that kind of caught my eye. They're at home, and I could see scenarios where they cause some trouble for the opposing offense.
Wow, no respect for Matt Ryan.
I really don't. I had no respect last week, and I was punished in the extreme sense of the word. The Redskins did nothing.
Yeah, great outdoor quarterback, Matt Ryan.
Apparently so. They're quietly getting it together.
Yeah,
Atlanta.
the Falcons are good.
They are.
It's the NFC South is pretty weird.
It's cool. That's my favorite division.
Yeah, yeah, because even the Bucks at least are an entertaining. They're an entertaining shit show.
Yeah, it's just cool teams, wild matchups.
Could you play the Bucks defense for? I mean, they're the Stone Men, $2,000 at home. Washington, who's down everybody, including a bunch of offensive linemen.
You're making a decent case here. The one pushback, and you know this as well as I do, Alex Smith, as ineffective as he is, he rarely, if ever, makes huge mistakes.
Right. The Bucks are a trash defense.
It's so bad. The only out you have there is a situation like the Vikings against Stafford where the offensive line just cannot hold them. And it just crumbles, like repeated. Like they need 6 sacks. Could it happen? Yeah. I don't know. The Bucks defense is so bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's not fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Not well. I'd rather find the $400 to get to the Rams. And then again, I think both of us are on the same page of the primo defenses here are the Packers, and then the teams whoever's facing the Cardinals and Bills every week. Who is that? The Jets and the Chiefs.
And obviously they're the most expensive, but it's the Bears. You know, Stafford has shown serious issues, and now they're in Chicago.
Matt Stafford, rich man's Josh Allen.
Matt Stafford,
very rich man, Matt Stafford.
Please. He's poor too. There needs to be a third level of that if you're going to do it.
He's really rich though, in dollars.
He is super rich.
Yeah. He and Clayton Kershaw are going to retire together to
say pride of Highland Park, just like Kershaw.
All right. He was a catcher. And then Kershaw was. I remember thinking because I think it was Matt Stafford was the catcher on their high school team. Like Kershaw and Matt Stafford are like best friends IRL for people out there. So Stafford was the catcher, and I'm like, oh well, then Kershaw was clearly like the star wide receiver, right? And it's like, I think he was an offensive lineman or something. I remember looking that up once, but it was not what you expected.
That's very shady.
Anyway, two of the greatest athletes of their generations.
True, they produce some good athletes.
You just went along with that. I just put Matt Stafford in the Kershaw tier.
Hey, arm talent wise, he's actually like incredibly impressive.
Yeah,
but
he sucks.
It's really bad, and we get to watch every Thanksgiving run amok. Man, I didn't know.
Is it better than the Joey Harrington era, though? I mean,
Joey Harrington in college was amazing. He's one of my favorite players ever.
Oh my god, are you even old enough to remember Joey Harrington in college? When was that? Like what year was he drafted? Like 2002?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like 12.
Were you doing a lot of in-depth analysis on who was playing for Bowling Green A&M?
More than you would think, believe me. All right. Do we want to? Speaking of college, we're gonna get in some college football now because we got a slate tomorrow. Ooh, your boy. This is the moment. We've had 2 quiet weeks, but we have Bedlam. Huge rivalry game tomorrow. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. Hollywood Brown. He's been hurt. They've said he's been limited. He's not playing full snaps. Full go in practice. Coach has said he's going to be 100%. Oklahoma State's defense is atrocious, and he's only 7,400. It seems pretty damn good if he is in fact healthy. Like that's where you need. I'm not gonna say you need to have him, but at the same time, he should be 9,000, and he would be if he hadn't had those 2 bad games. So that's one thing. Just looking at the slate, in general, same story. We've got some Big Ten games that are kind of unappealing, some Big 12 games that are really appealing, and then some randos when you've got Navy and UCF, Mississippi and Texas A&M from the SEC, which those are pretty good teams. Mississippi is probably the best for DFS purposes. The real question I have is what to do with the Navy UCF game. Navy's another one of those Georgia Tech types. They run only.
Yep.
And bad. That's the tricky part. They're having a really bad year. So it's like, I don't know. That one's tough. 24-point spread. Can you target Navy against the UCF defense? I guess you could look to Malcolm Perry, who may or may not be their quarterback at this point. Check for clarification. They were shut out last week, so it's hard to tell exactly what would have happened if that game stayed close. And then on the other side, of course, Mackenzie Milton and the boys. Possibly, though, an option team on the other side is not great because if Navy is effective, they will run a ton of less plays because Navy takes 8-minute, 10-minute drives sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
that's a tricky one. So I'm not really gonna hitch my wagons to it one way or another. If you want to go with the narrative that Navy's ineffective, then yeah, you play UCF straight up. If you want to take some stabs with a Navy guy, you could get their quarterback for like 4,800 or something. That's ridiculous. If in fact he gets the attempts. I mean, last week Zach Abey took over and he rushed 28 times for 37 yards. That's
not very efficient in my opinion.
No, he to get the 100-yard bonus, he would have needed 75 carries. So that could be a problem.
All right. Bigger rivalry, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State or Kansas and Kansas State?
Yeah, I mean, in basketball, it would be the other one, but no, it's Oklahoma State.
What about Ohio State and Michigan State? The heated rival. I'm just kidding. I know that it's Ohio State and Michigan.
Well, they have a rotating one. Like Michigan State's huge.
Yeah.
So, it is. That's a tough game where Michigan State's going to do enough to just disrupt it and make it ugly. You could look, Lewerke came back and did his thing, but then you look and it's like the guy just doesn't have enough upside. He's just not that explosive. I would much rather go to one of these Big 12 matchups when you got TCU, West Virginia with Will Grier, or as I mentioned, Oklahoma State's going to be. Let me see if I have the totals in front of me. Yeah,
80 over under.
80 over under. That's where you want to be.
That's pretty big.
It's not small.
We've got the we've also got the poor man's version of
That's the theme of the show. We got a lot of poor man.
I like this one. It was good to sticking with the theme. The poor man's version of Ohio State, Michigan, Akron at Eastern Michigan.
I wish that game was on the main slate. Cato Nelson, that's a gem for you people. Good quarterback for Akron.
What's the mascot of Akron?
The Zips.
The Zips?
Yeah. It's like a kangaroo, I think. But yeah, Akron Zips. We got, so just on this slate, I'm looking around here. It's a little tricky at running back. That's always where I certainly struggle the most. It's hard to pick. I usually try to pay down. And you could look to a guy, like the Otis Andersons of the world. Maybe even if you want to take a stab with a guy that I got right last week, and now I think people are going to jump on him, and that's kind of frustrating, was Tyson Williams, who I've advocated for a while that he's the better of the running backs at South Carolina. Last week at super low ownership, mispriced, they took the wheels off him. They got him in the passing game, and he had a huge game. Will they do that again this week? I honestly have no idea. And his price did go up a little, but that's the kind of spot that I think you want to look to, whether it's him. Well, Michael Piron's just had a couple bad games. But that's that kind of cheapish mid-tier running back game that you can target, especially if Dowdle, who's questionable, if he sits and South Carolina basically Tyson Williams has the backfield to himself, that's a pretty good spot.
Yeah. All right.
Basically, just play Hollywood Brown and then work your way out. He's going to have a huge game.
Just hit that lock button and then figure out the rest later.
Man, and then obviously there is some concern because the last 2 weeks he really has been limited, and you've seen it, or 2 or 3 weeks at this point. Before that, though, he was doing what he will do if he's healthy, and that's just unstoppable. Oklahoma's offense, as everybody knows, shortlisted best in the country, and their defense is bad enough that Oklahoma State will be able to move the ball. There's no doubt about that. So you can look to the, Tylan Wallace, other guys, Justice Hill, even if you want to take let me, before I say this, check where he's at in terms of price. Chubba Hubbard, who's a cool name.
Chubba Hubbard?
Chubba Hubbard, backup running back, 3,700. Definitely going to be part of this game. Limited touches, but he's a pure punt, and he can get you 10-12, no doubt about it.
All right. Fair enough.
Stack up that game. Stack it up. Last thing, I say this every week. I will be in Slack tomorrow. Some of the stuff we got to wait on, so find me in there. If you got questions on the college football slate, let me know. If you're gambling, let me know that too. I will be betting these games.
Hit up your boy.
Yeah.
Loves it. Put the bookie in the body bag. That's what we
Put
do.
the bookie in the body bag. That's what we do by picking 50% winners and losing to the VIG. Wait a minute. Yikes.
Put the cash in the bookie's body bag.
Yeah, he needs an actual body bag to take all my cash.
Money.
Yep, to take all the money on some of these bad bets.
Speaking of all the money, Carlos Ortiz owes me some.
Ooh, you have the golf up?
Yeah.
Where's the cut? Is it up to 4?
It's at 4, yeah.
Okay.
It would be pretty surprising to see it move off of 4. There's only 6 dudes. It's 60 right now. Only 6 dudes at 4 that are still out there.
You told me it wasn't going to move off 2 for a hot second last week.
What? Oh, that's because I was looking at the wrong number.
I know. What do you mean?
I was right.
You're giving me all this false hope. Like, oh, your guys are all safe. And I'm like, are they? Or am I?
I was right. I was just talking about 3, not 2.
Yeah.
My logic was sound. I was just literally looking at the wrong number. Sorry about that, pal.
It's okay. All right. I got to scroll up. Okay. JB Holmes.
Yeah, I just
find a way in.
Pretty upset that slamming Matt Kuchar everywhere is not like just crushed. I had a really good, like yesterday I was sitting up very high in a lot of the giant tournaments. But it's the first day, so who cares? And then just some bad players playing badly today.
Yeah, we will hopefully get some 6-6 through, and then we'll see what the weekend holds. But we through another week, man, and NFL's flying through.
We did it, and Jordan Spieth didn't.
Nope.
We'll be working this weekend, Jordan.
Good luck on your wedding, though. If Jordan Spieth watches from A to B on Friday, which is doubtful.
Well, he might tune in just for this part at the end where we talk about golf.
He might. And if he does, and anyone else, hit that like button. Yeah. It helps us out, Jordan.
Come on, Jordan, subscribe. Tell your friends.
It's true.
That would be good. I literally got hired in DFS by writing an article flaming Jordan Spieth. So
true to form.
Yeah, not sure. Guy loves me. All right. Yeah, that was fun. Anything else from you?
No, like I said, obviously, if you haven't signed up, as we always say, try it out for a week and go from there. All the people who watch, we really do appreciate it. Stop in the Slack, hit me up on Twitter. If you need anything, got any questions, and we will see you back during the weekend and then for this show next week.
Nice. That was a closing worthy of me. Good work, buddy.